You know, Congress, while you're busy trying to pass this Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act, I'm blown away by how many people support it. And it's almost like they don't research their own state to understand why passing certain bills like this is a horrific idea. But no! Let politicians play with laws and undermine our healthcare while doing it. Thank you. I appreciate it. First, to every single one of those politicians, my first question is, what is endocrine disrupting chemicals? How many does the EPA estimate we are exposed to on a daily basis? Because if you're not questioning how hazardous chemicals can negatively impact a pregnancy, then this bill is pointless. Because your constituents are being exposed to hazardous chemicals that could impact the development of that fetus. But we've got politicians that are science deniers instead of, reading the medical papers that talk about the science. And at this point, it should be totally unacceptable that you're directing your policy towards women instead of the chemicals that have been studied. Due to the limitations of this map, I won't know until they update the site if they're still currently using atrazine. But the United States uses multiple types, and some of those types of pesticides have lengthy lawsuits. But we're supposed to pretend that the exposure to the pesticide couldn't cause the very thing you're trying to legislate in law, instead of maybe researching your constituents' exposure to hazardous chemicals. And the funniest thing is I call myself a nerd. I am not somebody that has graduated medical school, but I can still do research into the medical field when you guys are trying to pass policy to understand how everything has an effect, whether we like it or not, including to our health. And do you know what most recent studies are finding? That the PFAs that men are exposed to are impacting the health of the developing fetus and their offsprings. You want women to be the bearer of the burden. You continuously go for our rights, but back in April, the big oil corporations was at a House Oversight Committee hearing, and it looks like climate change isn't a hoax, folks. And guess what? Fossil fuels aren't just harming the planet, they're also making us sick, because petrochemicals are linked to a diverse array of health problems from infertility to cancer, but they've been building up in pregnant women's bodies. I know my doctor never took any samples to see what my bioaccumulation of endocrine disrupting chemicals were, and they probably should have, because EPA estimates the US population is exposed to approximately 87,000 endocrine disrupting chemicals daily that potentially cause an increased risk to various pathologies, including cancer. But when we have people that develop cancer, they get paid out in lawsuits for causation. Like with the AFFFF lawsuit, because people were exposed to PFOAs and PFOSs. And the crazy part, more than half of the United States Attorney Generals have already taken legal actions towards corporations, but we're still denying the science that those corporations can impact a pregnancy, right? Oh no, those corporations couldn't contaminate the drinking water of which the people are drinking in that area. So again, how does drinking contaminated water impact wanted pregnancy? I wonder whose playbook we're taking the script from, because this script is getting old. So I wonder if these politicians weren't supported by the corporations because they are science deniers. Science deniers don't find fault with causation, cause and effect. Because we are exposed to hazardous chemicals on a daily basis. How is that impacting your health? No, don't question if the same chemicals that cause cancer could, negatively impact a developing fetus, because at that point, Your fingers wouldn't be pointing at the women. Again, they'd be pointed at the corporations for producing the hazardous chemicals. Endocrine disrupting chemicals can transfer from the mother to the developing fetus via the placenta, but let's not question how hazardous chemicals impact the developing fetus, right?